When we do the Zoom into wine activities, we try to bring in experts that can really tell us, teach us, show us, what we're tasting. And what's great about wine is that every wine has a unique story, told by the winemaker and the place. And this is a remarkable producer. Probably every winery in the world looks to them as like a benchmark in the Rhone. And we have a special guest, Erica Adams, works for Shiverick Imports. They are the official nationwide importer of Jean-Louis Chave. And so we wanted to really kind of get some firsthand knowledge about the brand and some expertise because tonight's a special tasting. We've got some really cool things happening here. So welcome, Erica. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ian, for having me.
Every time I learn about Jean-Louis Chave, I'm just like dumbfounded because this guy's family started in 1481 in the Northern Rhone, and he is apparently like the 25th John Louis Chave or JL Chave, right? They,
Yeah.
yeah.
Indeed. So yeah, like as you mentioned, 1481 was the inception. Some argue, I think one of the oldest wineries that is still continuing the family today. So the lineage is pretty deep. And some argue to say it is the the best legendary producer in the Rhone, not just the Northern Rhone, in all of the Rhone. These wines are highly sought out and highly regarded, and I'm super proud to be on the streets selling them, and telling the story to people like Ian. And so Gerard actually took over from his father in 1970. John Louis's father is Gerard. So after John Louis came back from enology school in Davis, he actually attended here in Northern California, the University of Davis. He went back and really started to take the reins. I mean, Gerard is only an arm's length away, but John Louis is at the helm. He came back to the winery and he really wanted to carry on his family's name and legacy. So, they have their own holdings. They're actually located in Mauve. So it's on the right bank of the northern Rhone on the river in the right bank. Um,
So
and
we're
so,
we're probably in Hermitage there, right? Is that where the home
yeah,
is?
that's correct. Absolutely. So yeah, like I mentioned, the right bank there, they're in the northern part. Mauve is really the area where the winery is situated. And then they have holdings around the winery, which that's their Hermitage bottling. And then, in
Erica,
1990,
we got to tell people that Hermitage is like one of the most collected wines in the world, and the wine starts off somewhere between $400 and $500 a bottle. And every year it gets older, you can add another 10% to the value of that wine.
yes.
It's a tremendous bankable asset. And so people collect these wines. You really don't open them until they get quite seasoned in the bottle, and that's at least 10 years before you really get to I mean, it's so good even when it's young, but you kind of are really missing the point if you open a young Hermitage.
Yeah, I like to call this wine like it appreciates, not depreciates, right? So the longer that you can hold it, the more you will get out of it. Indeed. Some of the most ageable wines in the world in terms of in terms of compared to other regions around the world.
Yeah.
So it is a very special, unique place, unique terroir, unique soils. And so it's definitely something to be proud of to be from
And
that area.
what makes tonight's tasting cool is we're tasting other wines, but they're made at this venue and they are made to be drank a little sooner and they have much kinder price points. But they're still by the same great hand and great selection. So this is really a privilege to be able to taste these wines with you. and to learn about this magical brand based in Hermitage, but really makes wines from throughout the Rhone, which is very common. Most Rhone producers have kind of diversified holdings, giving them different price points and different wines to sell.
Indeed. Absolutely.
Our first wine that we're going to taste is the Jean-Louis Chave selection. And do we pronounce it Sybele?
Sybele. Sybele. And actually, this was a nature goddess, the name of a nature goddess. And that's where it got its name. It is really meticulously made. It's very elegant. And it's again a white wine that can be drunk now and hold, be well with some age on it as well. And just to mention, the JL Shop selection was this line of bottlings came to be in 1990, and they wanted to make a line that, like you said, was more affordable, was more consumer friendly. They understood that not everybody can afford on to drink, their table wine, to have a $400, $500 table wine on a daily basis, to have on a Wednesday night. That's quite, it's an expensive Wednesday night. So the JL selection was born, and they do source from these vineyards. Now, some holdings they own, like in St. Joseph, when we talk about the offers, they actually own these holdings. But for most of the selection bottlings, they are sourced out, but they are also very, very thoughtful when they're sourcing out their fruit, because they are certified organic at the winery. And so that's what they look to source. And when they're working with their vineyard partners, and because they're the oldest winery in the Rhone, they certainly have the upper hand in terms of sourcing, and they get to choose who they like to work with. And that's quite special.
This wine is Marsanne, typically, and it can be 100% Marsanne, but in this particular vintage and every year, you're going to have some variables. But this vintage that we're tasting, the 2020, is 60 Marsanne and 40 Roussanne. And so these are very classic white wine varieties of the Rhone. And we talked about aging, and I think everyone assumed we were talking about the red wine, but these white varieties, Marsanne Roussanne, love to develop in the bottle. And if you get to drink an older version of this wine, it's just magic.
Remarkable.
And what can we expect as we're tasting this one? I mean, Marsanne is a variety that most of us don't taste very often. What do you think we should be looking for here? Do you have some ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's a fuller bodied style of wine. So if you've never heard of Marsan Roussan, and maybe you are a Chardonnay drinker, you like wines with a little bit more body, a little bit more umph. It does see barrel, so you're gonna definitely get some of those spicy baking spice characteristics, not overwhelming. And I really like this. I call this like the red wine lover's white, because it really lends a beautiful, fuller and richer palette.
The the description that we're showing is kind of from a textbook. Not doesn't really read like you're. If I read this description, I'd be like, glue and marzipan. That's kind of a strange way to describe a wine, but maybe it's a little bit like tar and roses is
Yeah.
Barolo. Um, but this is out of a textbook. So, um, but I think I mean, we're going to taste it right now with our group, and we're going to go wild on this. But just imagine what can be elevating here with even more time in the bottle. And these are really special, grapes put in the hands of a master. So we'll taste it right now, Erica, with the group, and we're going to come back and talk about the red wine a little bit later.
Sounds great. Enjoy, everyone.